My husband showed up to the house that night with 5 loaded handguns. There was a police chase, and then there was a 7-hour standoff. So I told you guys in the last episode that my friend at the time had told my husband about the affair. So my husband and I had separated. I'm still living in the home that my husband and I were in, and my husband had moved out. And so one particular night, my husband had called me and he found out that the guy was at the house. So that whole entire night, he just kept calling back to back to back to back to back to back. I mean, it was literally something out of a movie. He kept saying, I know he's in there. I know what time he leaves for work. I don't know how much I can really say on this platform, but you guys can it was threat after threat after threat after threat the whole entire night. And so that morning, the calls just kept coming. And so that morning, I knew, like, deep down inside, I was like, let me walk him outside too. Like, when he leaves, I'm gonna go outside too, just in case what my husband was saying was true. So we lived in the apartment, in an apartment complex at the time. So we walk out, and as soon as I get into like the hallway and getting ready to go outside, I saw my husband's truck drive past, and I was like, oh shit. So I immediately went back in the house and I called the police. When I called the police, told them what was going on, they came to the house, and then you see, because my husband is still just like circling. Then you see the police get there. And I remember one of the police officers came into the apartment and he was like asking me questions. And then, oh my gosh, we were standing there, and then I saw my husband like drive by while the police were there. And I was like, there's my husband right there. And like, even in this moment, like I'm talking about, I was like, ew, you snitch. Like, this was just terrible. I'm telling y'all, don't do it. If you in it, get out. Like I said yesterday or in the other episode, they rarely end good. Okay. So he runs and he gets into his car. So you guys, my husband did not stop. So where we lived at the time, we live here in Baltimore, but it was it was in Reisterstown. So my husband took the police on a chase. It was about an hour chase. I think it lasted an hour. I think it was an hour chase. And what I mean by chase is that the cops are following my husband, got the lights on, the sirens on. And mind you, it's like 5:00 in the morning. So it's not like a whole bunch of traffic outside, but it is. So my husband takes them from Reisterstown to Westminster. If any of you guys are from this area, you know the distance is about a 25-minute drive. But he's like circling, like going in and out. So when he finally gets up here to Westminster and he gets on this one back road, the police, they're like shutting down streets at this time. Because now, mind you, they know he has 5 loaded handguns. And so they're taking this very seriously. And so, and now when I think about it too, I'm going to get to this in a minute. They came to the house and they saw me. Okay. So anyway, oh my gosh, they're taking him on the chase, and he gets on these back roads and he's not stopping. Now, mind you, throughout the whole entire chase, keep this in mind, he's not breaking the speed limit. He's literally not speeding. He's just not stopping. When he got to red lights, he didn't stop. He just slowed down through them to make sure that he wasn't like going to her. So this was not a high speed chase. Okay. So pin that, keep that in mind. Okay. So they're on the back roads and they throw out some spikes to bust his tires. Well, my husband, because he's familiar with the area, he knew that if he busted it right here and then busted another left, he'd be right back on the same street. So that's what he did. As soon as they threw the spikes down, he made that right. And they realized, like, oh my gosh, like this guy knows the area. So finally he gets on another street up here on 32. I believe it was Route 32. and they threw the spikes out again. Now, this time he ran over them, busted his tires. So his tires are now flat. He cannot go anywhere. He has 5 loaded handguns in his car, in his truck. They completely shut the street down. This is Route 32, I believe. Or 26, one of them. I can't remember. If you from here, it was by Cranberry Mall. So they completely shut this big street down. They have sharpshooters in the trees. Now I want y'all to, do y'all hear what I'm saying? Like, this is like something out of a freaking movie, all because I wanted to go and be with outside of my marriage. Okay. All of this is happening because of that. And this is blowing my freaking mind. So eventually he stops. They have a tear gas truck like pull up to his, that's like in the middle of the street. And is this tear gas truck, like, I guess it shoots the tear gas out, like army stuff, like an army tank. So finally, when they broke his or flattened his tires, the negotiator gets on the phone with me. This was a 7-hour standoff. Now, I told y'all when the police got there, they saw me. Now, if y'all are from here, this is in Carroll County, Maryland, where this happened. It sounds exactly how it is. Carroll County. Okay. My husband, they know he has 5 loaded handguns in his truck. They allow this man to sit there for 7 hours. Now, this whole time, at the time, we both smoked cigarettes. So he told me he went through a pack of cigarettes throughout this whole time. So he's doing all this movement, getting his cigarette, lighting it. I mean, all this movement. And he's still alive today. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. They knew he had the guns in his car. For 7 hours, they were on the phone with me trying to negotiate for this man's life, and he's still alive today. So anyway, on the phone with the negotiator, it was around Thanksgiving time. And I remember that because the negotiator asked me, he said, who carves the turkey at Thanksgiving? And I thought that was such an odd question. But he said, and I told him, I said, my husband does. And so now he's relaying that message to my husband. He's like, Doug, Thanksgiving is coming up. The family is going to miss you carving the turkey. I mean, when I tell you this negotiator asked me so many questions for 7 hours. And at the time I had my youngest daughter. I just remember just being on this phone, just like numb, just like wishing none of this shit was real. Like this, I was like, this is real now. Like it was like now this is real. Like my husband is literally threatening to take his life. Like now this is this is so real. And I'm thinking like, oh my God, my daughter is not going to have her freaking father when she grows up. Like all these things are going through my mind in those 7 hours. It was the worst day of one of the worst days of my life. And so my husband finally, they told him, they said, we're giving you 10 minutes and we're going to shoot tear gas into your truck. So after the 7-hour standoff, the tank started moving closer to his truck and finally he just surrendered. So when he surrendered, the officer that arrested him, he told my husband, he said, I know what you're going through. I've been here and I'm going to show up in court for you and let the judge know that you didn't put anybody's life in danger when you didn't stop your truck. I'm going to show up in court to be that sounding voice for you. And you guys, he actually did. And I'll tell you that in a minute. So anyway, my husband gets arrested. I thought like, okay, so let me tell you the charges, okay? It was 10 years for fleeing and eluding the cops. It was a 15-year sentence for stalking, because it was considered stalking me, driving around the house that whole night. Then each gun, thank the Lord Jesus Christ that though that he was, my husband is a registered, we both are registered gun owners. So thank God those guns were in his name. And that really saved him too. But each of those guns carried 5 freaking years. So he was facing, what is that? 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 40, 50 years in prison. When I tell you that, now my husband only spent, I think my phone, is this getting ready to die? Okay, no, we're good. My husband, okay, so he's in jail. Okay, he's in jail. He's in jail. Let me stop this so I don't. Now he's in prison, and and I can't remember exactly how we find out that him and I cannot talk. We cannot communicate. And so what had to happen was he would have to call my sister's house, and I hope I ain't giving out something. Is there a statute of limitation on Lord? But he would have to call my sister's house, so there was no tracking to the phone number. And when we would get on the phone, so I would have to go over to my sister's house to talk to him every single day, collect call. And so when we would be on the phone, we didn't he never said my name because we weren't supposed to talk to each other. So my husband, he gets a public defender, y'all. We didn't have no money to get a lawyer. We got a $50 public defender who was so badass. It was this white woman, right? And she, oh my gosh, it was like, again, y'all, this was like something out of a movie. So she told me that this is one key thing that I really remember during the case, or during that whole time with the lawyer being involved. She said that the judge is going to, because she told me that I didn't have to testify as my husband's wife. As a wife, you can like give up your right to testify. Like they can't make you testify, right? And so I was going to state that when I got there, but she said that I also had to write them a letter stating that too. But she also said that it was very important for me to go to court too. She said, because if I didn't show up, they would pretend like they never even got that letter and just proceed with, then they would make me come or whatever. I don't even know exactly what would happen, but they would pretend that they would act like they never received the letter, and then they would be able to go on with the next step, which I don't remember what that was. So I went, right? And when I went, exactly what that lawyer said is exactly what happened. The judge said he did not get it, which they did because I sent it there. The letter saying that I don't know if it's pleading the fifth. I don't know what it was, y'all. I don't know. But I was just saying that I wasn't going to testify. So when we were in court and the lawyer said that, the judge denied that he got the letter. And then she said, well, oh God, it's a fly in here. And I knew it. I saw him in here earlier. Ugh. You're going to get weak soon and I'm going to get rid of you. Sorry for y'all people who don't kill flies. But so she was like the wife is sitting right here. She's sitting in the courtroom. So I literally had to get up, stand up, say my full name and say that I was not going to testify. And then he asked me, was I doing that out of fear? Did anybody coerce me into to doing that? And I had to say no. And then that was it. They did not have to hear from me. So then it's now the lawyer and them doing all the things, right? So the police officer that arrested my husband, y'all, he really showed up. And I'm like, my husband never asked, was he involved in something similar? But he did tell him, I know what you're going through. I've been there. So he never asked him the specifics, but he did. He literally showed up in court and he told the judge, he said, Your Honor, I know that he did not stop for us, but he put nobody else's life in danger. Although the man's life that he was trying to put in danger. Y'all know what I'm saying. So that police officer showed up, told the judge that my husband was so nice, and even though he didn't stop, and understanding that this would have been a crime of passion and all the things. And so the judge said something about the guns, like he had to give his guns up, and he was like, cool. My husband was like, Chad, I will give you my left toe if you let me out of here today, right? So the judge said something about about the guns. And my husband's like, yeah, I'll give them up. And then the attorney, my husband's attorney, said, I can fight for you to keep them. It sounds pretty good right now. My husband's like, absolutely. He's like, I don't want to put no strain on this. I just want to get out. So you guys listen. My husband spent 31 days in prison. 31 days in prison, and he came home. During those 31 days, I became a single mother. You guys, I literally slept in my husband's pile of clothes in the closet that I just never washed from when, before he got locked up. I just slept in a pile of dirty clothes that he had just had there at the house at that time. Every single night I was crying. It was so bad. And you guys know, at that time I wasn't working. And I remember having a yard sale, y'all. It wasn't even, I called it a moving sale. I was selling all kinds of stuff out of my house just to try and pay the rent, because I did not know how long this was going to go. And I remember at the time I had my very, very good friend, Brandy. I had her contact one of Doug's family members on my behalf, and that family member gave me money to pay the rent the next month. And it was just a mess. But during the time that my husband and I, that very first collect call, literally that very first collect call, it was just I know this is going to sound crazy because I can't really explain it. For real, I can't explain it, but it was just I love you. I know that sounds corny, but that's just what it was. Just I love you. I'm so sorry. I love you. I'm so it was just disbelief. It was just am I is this real? It was just it was unbelievable. It was a lot. Whoo, child, it was a lot. I remember the conversations that we would have, and he knew my complaints of how I would always say, I feel like you ignore me when I talk. And y'all know just how oftentimes when you're together with somebody for a long time, now we were only together for a couple of years, but you just start getting used to that person's voice. You just not as in tune as you were. But the funny thing is that my husband and I will celebrate 30 years of marriage coming up. Or are we 30 years in? I don't even know if we're 29 or 30 years married, something like that. I know we were together for a year before we actually got married, but we are more in tune with each other now after 30 years than we were in those first 2 years. It was I don't know, just the maturity of it. I don't know what it is, but we are just way more in tune now than I was complaining about then. And it was because, we had gotten used to each other. And so I just remember him me thinking that it was over, and he was like, Angel, I'm sorry. He was apologizing for ignoring me, not for playing any part in me going outside of the marriage yet. And I know that's tough to hear. However, at that time, he was just I'm going to do better. I understand. It was almost he was realizing damn, it was that serious for you. And I was, and he was having that realization, damn, shit, all right, I'm gonna listen to you talk, girl. Goddamn, you know what I mean? I'm making kind of light of it. Y'all, it's been some years. I'm just trying to verbalize our feelings and emotions during that time. But y'all, that was a whole lot. All right, so the first time I saw when he came home from jail, I remember his face was all round, he had gained weight, and I was like, oh my God, this is it was just oh my gosh. But this was the saddest thing of all. At that time, I believe my oldest daughter was 4 years old, and my husband used to have a lot of back issues, at that time, and she knew that. And so when she would ask where he was, I would say that he was in the hospital. He had a back operation. Y'all, I lied to my child. So she thought that thank God at that time that she didn't have, a real concept of time. But she believed that he was in the hospital. So when he came home that day, so we didn't know if he was coming home. So she stayed home. It was actually me, and his best friend at the time that came to court that day. And when he came home, I remember my daughter's face, like she was at my mother's house and he opened the door and she just looked up at him and she was like, Daddy. And I just remembered like that right there can rip your whole entire heart out. Like I was like, just still in my mind at that time, like this is what the fuck you did. Like this is what all that did. Like you was about to lose it all. Like lose all. So I want to tell y'all something. I want to tell you guys something else about at the police standoff. My mother actually went to the standoff. So my mother and my brother were actually there too, because this is 7 hours, we're contacting people. And when my mother found out, my mother went down there and she was talking to my husband through the negotiator as well. And y'all, guess what? Like, this is how bad this was. Like, I want you guys to understand how much my family loves and adores my husband. My mother was so mad at me. The whole 31 days my husband was in prison, my mother did not talk to me. Nope. She did not talk to me. She was so mad at me. Like, how the fuck? Like, my mother did not talk to me. So that was just, I was like, that just popped into my mind. I just wanted y'all to like, and I watched this video the other day. And it was this video, this girl, you guys probably saw it. It's going viral on TikTok and it's going viral because she's talking about how she lost a good man, how she was immature during that time. And now like she realizes she sees him with somebody else and she's happy about that. And I resonated with that video so much because that was me. Like my husband was the type of guy when we first started dating, he would be like, okay, I'll call you at 7:00. And he would call at 7:00. And I'm like, you're so dorky. Like he wasn't hard. He never played hard to get. He just always put his feelings out on the table and he did what he said and y'all know, just being a young, dumb girl, like, I don't know why we be attracted to the boys that be like, all right, I'm gonna call you at 7, and this nigga don't call you until 3 days later, and the whole time you ain't even eating because he ain't call you, but you get a mofo in your space that say I'm gonna call you at 7, calls you at 7, and you like, he a punk, he a sucker. Like, what the fuck is that? Immaturity. That's what that is. And so that's the type of guy my husband is. So that is the relationship that he also had with my family. So y'all, I'm really feeling like shit. I had couldn't call my quote unquote best friend at this time because we're not speaking. So I'm like going through that, going through my husband, going through the break. It was just a lot that I had just brought on myself. Okay. It was a whole lot going on. So in the next episode, you guys, I will tell you how when my husband came home from prison, he wanted to talk to the guy, and he actually did. And I'll tell you exactly what he said to him when he showed up at his house.